again, and welcome to another edition of Media Watch. I'm your co-host, Eric Tait.
I'm Alan Singer. Nice to be here again, Eric.
And I'm Raymond Peterson.
So Dr. Alan Singer is visiting us once again to follow up on some of the stories we were discussing with him on his last visit. And so there are a number of issues because we were pre-taping the Wednesday before our Monday air. We're in June, and Alan, you'd done a piece reminding people that June was, Gun Violence Awareness Month?
Yes.
And so there are a number of stories related to that topic that's been in the news. You want to address the focus of your piece, and then we'll spin off from there?
Yeah. Hofstra University, where I teach, is on Long Island, Nassau County. So what I did in this daily cost piece is I focused on student activism in the schools in the immediate area. Great Neck, on May 31st, in preparation for Gun Violence Awareness Month, students walked out and made a march. Following Saturday, there was a big student-led protest in Port Jefferson, which is in Suffolk County. And so it's very, very clear that students are not prepared to just let the issues go. At a number of the graduation ceremonies, we're having students speak out about the importance of the campaign to control guns in the United States, to make schools safer, but also to make American society safer.
So the interesting thing is there seems to be this groundswell, and of course all those years going, people have been polled, and a large percentage of people in the country actually want background checks, stricter gun controls, all that. We can't seem to get anything through our federal government. What did you find recently in what was the latest decision on the federal level? What commission did they say? What toothless commission did they come up with?
Toothless is the word. One of the things that's so striking is in March, President Trump sets up a school safety commission, and he points the head of the school education department, he points his attorney general, he points his Homeland Security, and there's one other person. I don't remember the person's name. Yeah. But the point is, none of these four people believe in gun control. So what they set up is a commission to make schools safer with no one who believes in taking action to make schools safer. You know, I'm addicted to reading the newspaper every morning, almost addicted to my coffee every morning. So I'm reading the newspaper, and it gets ridiculous. So today's paper, Betsy DeVoss, the Secretary of Education, is testifying in the Senate on the work of her commission. And what does she announce?
Anti-gun violence control
commission?
Okay.
Well, not the anti-gun, the school safety commission.
Which is related to the, yes.
Yes,
okay.
that's how they frame it. And she says, DeVoss says, this is the headline, the new panel to assess school safety, it's not going to focus on guns. So here, the Trump administration is acting in response to the shooting in Parkland, to the shooting in Texas, by a commission that is not going to look at gun violence.
What are they looking at?
Well, this is weird. They actually made a suggestion. DeVoss makes a suggestion for elementary school teachers, and she says what you should do is have the students work in teams. And every 2 weeks, you should change the teams so they get to know different people. And I said, you know, it's actually a very good idea. I think teachers should follow it. It has absolutely nothing to do with stopping gun violence. No. Our kindergarten kids are not the ones who are doing the shootings. The shootings are being done by teenagers who have access to guns.
I don't want to talk about Betsy DeVoss, okay?
But
because we'll come back. We'll circle back to Betsy DeVoss as we deal with being black in America a little later in our show. But you referenced the Parkland shootings, and the interesting thing, one of the stories related to the gun violence, gun awareness month, was the headline I saw, which basically stated the fact that Stoneman Douglas activists launch new push for youth voter turnout. We can fix the political system is the quote that the headline is carrying. And so basically the young people who are actively trying to get gun control, they've come to the realization that we're not going to get it from Trump's administration, from Republicans or Democrats, because they're still afraid of the NRA. So these kids are launching their voter push because they plan to vote these people out of office. And I think they have hit upon the only solution to the gun safety, school safety situation in this country, and that's vote a lot of them out of office and put in people who actually want to do that. So that's my take on that. But related to Gun Violence Awareness Month, there was another story, which was actually a couple weeks ago, I think, when we were doing the last show. There was a headline about hundreds in Chicago just said enough was enough, and they just rallied and had a big public display in the streets of Chicago saying, enough of this gun violence, enough is enough.
And that's the
and
way
because
to do
Chicago is getting hit with gun violence more than any other city in the country, so if anybody's going to be concerned about gun violence. So there is no doubt that there is a groundswell to come to grips with this.
Of course there is. But what I wanted to ask you, Alan, the youth movement is how aggressive is that right now? I mean, is it like, you know, like I was in high school during the Vietnam War. I mean, we were out there, and it was a very big movement. Is this equivalent?
I'm not sure. This is the thing about social movements. I think it's an important point. They ebb and they flow. And what you have to do is you have to institutionalize, because the students at Stoneman Douglas are going to graduate.
Right.
So the question is, what kinds of organizations do they establish? So as they go on to college and as they leave school, do they continue to organize? And so there's going to be new outrages. We know that because after Parkland, there was Santa Fe, Texas. There's going to be new outrages. And it's going to ebb and flow, and elections come and go, but you have to set up organizations. I hope that this will happen. You know, in the 60s, you had SDS, you had the Black Panthers. People set up organizations that continued the struggle during the downtime. It's not an easy thing to do, but that's what has to take place.
I wonder if they have the wherewithal to do that, though. The organizational skills. You know, there should be some adults in this, and I'm sure there are. It's got to be stronger. It's got to be more vociferous. We have to get out there and really make a huge noise. And I see that happening, but I don't see the momentum that I would love to see with the parents and the students. You know, we can change anything in this country if we make enough noise. It's easy to do. Well, it's not easy to do, but the protest is easy to do. People just need to do it. I don't think, you know, people are paying a lot of lip service. I don't see a lot of action. Certainly not. I hear people complaining. I know a lot of people, and frankly, I don't see anybody doing anything.
Well, one possibility there are. If you go on the webs, there are a lot of different Mothers Against Gun Violence or groups like that. Michael Bloomberg has set up Everytown USA, and he's put a lot of money into the gun control issue. That has the potential to ensure ongoing organized structure, which is what has to be. So, you know, whatever your feelings are, Bloomberg mayor, Bloomberg Post mayor has put a lot of effort into the gun control campaign. That money and that structure can make it possible for the students to have that kind of continuous push. And that's what I'm hoping.
I'm hoping too.
Look, because one of the things that, you know, just to give you a sense of the ebb and flow, so the DeVoss article is on page 11. You know, so when there's a shooting, it's going to be page one. But then, you know, as we see with every issue in the United States, it moves back page to page, and the articles get smaller, smaller, smaller. And we have to make it so that we can be on the front page because of the struggle, not because kids are dead.
So related to gun violence, I did a quick search and discovered that one of the things that were big in the news in 2017 and 2016 was police shooting black males. And in 2016, I think they shot maybe, 17 black males. In 2017, they shot 19 black males. But in total, the cops across the country shot nearly 1,000 people in 2017. So the numbers are not going down. Okay, and so the whole bit about the issue of exorbitant force or unnecessary fire by police is still an issue, but tied to our ongoing feature of being black in America, there was an interesting story that I saw about a gentleman being shot in Florida, and he was shot by a police officer. They were called to his house, and once he saw that there were cops, he was in the garage, and they were called because he was making noise. He pulled his garage door down, and after he pulled his garage door down, they shot through the garage door and killed him. Okay, so later his family sued the city, and they won, but they were awarded $4 because the jury decided that he had caused his own death by playing his music too loud, so that the police were called on him, and because for some reason they thought he had a gun, they fired through his closed garage door.
He did have a gun.
Yes,
but it was
back
in his back pocket,
okay.
which is where it was found when they picked up the body.
Right.
But they initially said he pulled that gun
but we
on
know he
them.
didn't because they found the body in his back pocket.
Yeah. Oh,
okay?
you got me.
Yeah,
Let me put this gun in my back pocket.
I'll put it back in my pocket. So within the interesting scenario of being black in America, this black man's family. Oh, by the way, they then reduced it to.
They did
It was $1 for wife and three children.
The wife and the 3 children.
And then they say because he caused his death, it was 1 cent per child or whatever. So they got 4 cents. So, don't be black in America because here, at least in Florida, your life is only worth 4 cents
I don't know why
for your
any
kids.
black person would be in Florida in the first place if they didn't have to be.
I'm chuckling, I'm laughing, but,
the option is to cry.
Yeah, right. There was another story within the context of being black in America about somebody swimming while black. I don't know if you guys saw the story.
I did see that.
It was, if you got it handy, read it out.
Where was it? I got it somewhere here. Oh,
Swimming while black.
Omni Hotel in Orlando, Florida.
Another Florida story. Wow, I love the state of Florida.
No, this is great. Well, this family, Dr. Covey Banks was the mother of the family. The family was their mother, father, and children. And they were swimming in the hotel pool, as you do when you're in a hotel on vacation.
Right.
And this woman of Caucasian persuasion apparently told her daughter to pee in the pool and then splash the family.
Oh, wow!
Which
I didn't realize that was.
Anyhow, they got into an argument. The white woman pushed or attempted to push the daughter of Dr. Banks's family, and Dr. Banks stopped that, but somehow scratched the woman's arm.
Oh, wow.
So okay, fast forward, the police come. They don't want to hear the black family story. They want to talk to the white family first, get their story, as did the hotel management.
Right.
So and later, this woman, the woman who got scratched in an attempt to strike this child, wants to press charges of assault. Yeah, so that's where that stands right now. Nobody's talking to anybody, and as far as I know, nothing happened. No one was arrested.
Swimming while black.
And to top it off, the family who assaulted the Banks family were in the or have rooms on the same floor.
Oh, okay.
And they were allowed to stay there for 3 more days. And the hotel, as far as I know, did not offer the Banks a chance to change their rooms or anything. But that's being black in America.
You
so,
left out
know,
one thing that's very
what
important.
did I leave out?
The white family's name was Clampett.
Well, I don't. Yeah, right. Yeah, no, that's the way they presented it in the article. But I don't really believe it. And that's also telling because the family's name wasn't published.
Oh, Richard, here it is.
Oh, it's not Clampett. No,
How
they're not
interesting.
Clampett. Oh, the Clampett. No, and the writers called the father Jed Clampett. No, I think he was just being euphemistic.
Oh.
So there are more being black in America stories, folks, but we've got other things that we need to fish
Yes,
the
we
fire
do.
because
We got
to revisit we got to revisit the Gaza border because Alan, you came across another
And the American border.
outrageous.
And
Let's
the
start with
American
Gaza,
border,
and we'll
Gaza.
segue over to our southern border because
Right.
the Gaza border. Remember when the Palestinian journalist got killed a month and a half ago? Now we've got a new civilian casualty. Update our viewers on that one, Alan, please.
Well, the first thing is, when we met 2 weeks ago, the death toll was about 60.
For that one day.
Well, yeah, but
Not
that was,
counting
you know,
the 37 prior and
Well, the
whomever,
death toll
yeah.
now was about 120.
Okay.
So, and again, when that one day, it was front page news. Now it's page 7. And it's moving back, and people are ignoring it, which gives the Israeli government.
Who's the victim? Who's the
Well,
victim?
this
Tell our
case, the
viewers who
victim's
victim is.
name was Roseanne al-Najjar, 20 years old. She was a volunteer medic helping the wounded. And she had the medic shirt on, and she was shot multiple times by Israeli snipers. Now, the Israeli snipers the Israeli government claimed it was not intentional. But the point is, these are trained snipers. They were not just firing. These were not untrained people. They targeted and they killed her.
Snipers are trained to zone in on their targets. They don't just fire willy-nilly.
Not randomly, no, not at
that-
all.
The reason they're called snipers is because they're trained in the art of selecting targets from far distances to eliminate. So if they want to say this is an accidental death, how many times was she shot?
She was shot either 2 or 3, it wasn't
Okay,
clear.
all right. So yeah. So
Now- oh,
so
the-
the big lie again on the Gaza border as another civilian gets killed.
But this time, again, medical personnel. This fundamentally, targeting medical personnel fundamentally violates any of what we would call rules of war. And because medical personnel are always unarmed.
Journalists, marked press, and all that
Yeah.
stuff.
I mean,
The guy
they're
who was
wearing
killed,
their outfits.
You know. So
Now, a UN resolution in the Security Council was made to condemn Israeli action at the Gaza fence, and it was vetoed by the United States, which condemned the wording as one-sided against its Middle East ally. Of course, the Gazan protesters do not have snipers, and they have not shot any Israelis. As a matter of fact, no Israelis have been killed during the course of these protests. Yet somehow the United States felt fit to veto the resolution as one-sided. Now we have 119 dead on one side and 0 dead on the other. So I'm not sure the resolution condemning the side that's doing the shooting was one-sided. But that was the position of the United States government.
Hey,
Lovely.
all right, so that's crimes against humanity being committed on the Gaza border. And the UN just condemned the United States for human rights violation on our southern border. I continue to call it crimes against humanity because the Trump administration is still ripping young people from teenagers down to 4-year-olds or even younger from their mothers. It was the Oregon Senator, Democratic Senator Jeff Merkley, who did a quick visit to the southern border a couple days ago. And he basically was denied entry to one of the holding areas, some converted Walmart, but he'd seen other staging areas where the kids were first taken to. And he talked about seeing young people in cages. Raymond, you can update us on these cages because I didn't see the shots.
Well,
where
the cages I saw were, and the immigrant detainees in them, was actually from 2014. But they're the same cages that they're using today.
You're talking about the fact that that was the Arizona
Arizona,
2014
right,
pens where
exactly.
probably Sheriff Joe Arpaio was
Oh,
probably
yeah,
holding people.
really.
I'm not going to swear on a
Yeah.
stack of Bibles that's who it was, but the
Yeah,
recently
but-
pardoned
He's
felon.
he's been
was
pardoned.
The recently
Yeah, and he's
pardoned
been
felon
pardoned, so he's,
who was holding
blameless.
people in pens and cages. So now we've got young people being stripped from their parents, being taken away, being left in some sort of limbo. And everybody's already, I mean, we were ahead of the curve when we talked about this and called it what we thought was a human crime. And everybody has since come on board. But for what's upsetting to me is that a U.S. senator could not gain access to a U.S. facility that was being run by the Health and Human Services, an arm of the federal government, even though he had ID that showed he was who he said he was. So for me, when we start to ban our elected officials from being able to go to places that are being run by other federal agencies, we have gone into some kind of autocratic way of doing business in this country that's gotten out of hand.
Well, their excuse was that you have to make an appointment 10 days in advance, regardless of who you are, in order to visit one of the facilities. And he had given them only 2 days' notice that he was coming.
Oh, does Trump have to give him 10 days notice too?
I don't know. Trump can do anything he wants. He's
He's-
omnipotent.
right, he's
You
the
forgot.
president, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Including pardon himself.
Including part. Yeah, right. I'd like to see him try that.
So there are some related stories to that media-wise we could take a quick stab at because
a lot of stories.
Samantha Bee got into a lot of trouble about being outraged and irate about how people were being treated, how those young people were treated by unleashing a pejorative on the first daughter, Ivanka Trump. What ladies euphemistically say that she used the "see you next Thursday" word, the C and the T word, and so everybody was
See you next
upset,
Thursday.
and she sort of apologized and said I crossed the line. But so, I mean, talk to me, Alan, about the difference, say, because the right-wing media is saying how come Samantha Bee is not fired and Roseanne Barr is fired. Talk to me about the nuance between a Samantha Bee being irate and using that word, and in the service of a good cause, by the way, and a Roseanne Barr being racist and using all sorts of racist Twitter accounts to malign an entire group of people.
Well,
Go.
first of all, Ivanka Trump is not first daughter. Ivanka Trump is a government official and an advisor to the president stationed in the White House.
There you go. That's
And
correct.
Samantha Bee was criticizing the hypocrisy of the Trump administration and this government official.
Right.
And I think that is very, very important. This was I didn't like the use of the word. I don't think she's that funny. I don't watch the show. But I think we have to be very, very clear. Samantha Bee was making a political statement about a public official who serves in the United States government. She was not attacking her in a capacity as Donald Trump's daughter.
Right.
And that's the first thing. The second thing is Roseanne Barr said racist statements. Samantha Bee may have said rude statements, but they were not racist and they were not sexist. And so we have to distinguish between those two things. Last, Samantha Bee was hired for her political acerbic wit.
Satirical,
Right.
outrage,
Right.
whatever.
She did what she was hired to do. Again, I'm not a fan. I don't like the word, but that's what she's supposed to do. Roseanne Barr was not hired to be a racist. Roseanne Barr basically accused a former Obama administration official, an African American woman, of being an ape.
Yes.
I mean,
indeed.
that's one of the strongest racist remarks you can make. And that wasn't what she was hired to do.
Yeah.
It's offensive, and ABC and Disney were embarrassed by it, and that's why they fired her.
Yeah, and my bone to pick with Disney isn't that they fired Roseanne. My question is, why the hell did you hire her in the first place?
They
You
were
knew
gonna
she
make-
was
they
a
were gonna-
racist pig to begin with.
And they knew that they would get box office draw. They had her on TV. It was all
Yeah,
about,
well,
it's all about the
okay,
money.
so
Once
that's
again,
the gamble
once
you
again.
took, and you lost.
Yeah, and they
okay?
lost this time.
So,
Yeah.
so what we got? About 2 minutes, maybe 4 minutes?
Maybe 1 minute?
No, let's see. We started at 28.
We have almost two.
Yeah, we got about 2 minutes left.
Well, the basketball
go.
game.
Being black in America,
Come on,
right? Football, basketball. Your
Whoever
president-
wins, Seth Curry and LeBron James have both announced they're not going to the White House because they're not taking a knee for Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And
So you to backtrack for our viewers, folk, you understand that Donald Trump disinvited the
After they
Philadelphia
refused to go.
Eagles
After they
to the
refused
White
to go.
House after they said
We're not
most
going.
of them. I understand maybe only 10 players were going to show up to the White House invitation. So after he realized he would look silly with only 10 players from a squad of NFL players, he called off their thing and claimed that, guess what? Claimed that
Claims.
they had disregarded their president's wishes about taking a knee. And it was brought to his attention after he disinvited them that, guess what? Though not one Philadelphia Eagle took a knee during the entire season.
oh, it's even better. Fox News had a picture of them taking a knee. And it turned out it was not the Star Spangled Banner protest. They were praying before the game. They were so committed to finding them taking a knee that they showed a picture of them at a prayer session.
So we're pretty much out of time. I'm guessing we probably got maybe about 30 seconds left. So if there's one thing we've learned, that leave it to Donald Trump to screw up anything that's possible to be screwed up, and because the NFL and their players had theoretically had a compromise on this taking a knee thing, but then the NFL punked out and decided to pass a law saying you people can't take a knee. So anyway, I think we're out of time. This has been Media Watch. I'm your co-host Eric Tait.
And
Alan Singer. This is a fun one today.
and I'm Raymond Peterson.
And folks, we'll catch you the next time. And if you have any time, check us up on YouTube, which is Media Watch EVT, and also Twitter, Media Watch EVT.
Yes.
And we'll catch you the next time.